It's Friday. You know, I've been going through the entire week waiting on this day to come, and it is finally here. You know, a lot of people are excited about Friday because they may be getting a paycheck, or just the mere fact that they're going to have, you know, a long weekend off or 2 days off for the weekend to go back to a fresh start on Monday to work. But I'm really excited because guess what? I am here today, and I don't have to do a lot of stuff, and that is what really gets me excited. What I'm going to do today, I have this piece of board that I'm going to use to make a wooden decor. This is actually a whole piece of board. It's really in the 100 years old. I really enjoy working with it. So this is what you would call old growth pine, and this is not so old, this is new. So this is actually, as you can see, the variation of the grain here, in terms of how the tree grow. This is rainbow poplar, and this is actually a scrap board, you know, but I want to make something out of it. So that's really it. So let me tell you what I think. I want to make for one of my friends a letter key letter holder. And I think I'm sure I will be able to finish it today. But what I want to finish today is the decor, the candle holder decor, or a vase. That's what I want to finish today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually pass these through my thickness planer. That's what I'm going to do. So when you join me, you will actually be able to see what I am doing in terms of with this. So the first thing I want to do is to mark out this board, get some measurements on it to ensure that I will be able to make what I'm attempting to make. Let me see if I can find my pencil to see the measurement of this. I get my little square. So that's the first thing I want to do. So let me square it off right here and get my measurement. So I need at least 16 inches. There about. Mark this off right there also. Then I want to check the actual thickness of this, the width of this board. Yes, seems to be getting the measurement that I want, which is 6.5 inches. Let me mark it here. 6.5 inches. So yeah, that's pretty much what I want. Let me see the rest of measurement here. So that's yeah, seems to be getting what I want, 6.5 inches. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pass this through the thickness planer, these boards through the thickness planer to get my actual thickness. And then I'm going to come back and resaw these boards. Or better yet, I think I should resaw them and then pass them through my thickness planer to get what I want to make. So what I want to do first, I want to get this one prepped for, the first glue up, because in order for me to get this one complete, I have to glue it up and let it spend at least half hour in the glue up. So let me go over to the thickness planer. So here am I at the thickness planer. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pass these boards through the thickness planer so that I can get this out the way. So let me get my electricity. Pass this through the thickness planer. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to use a flattening jig that I have made. I think I've destroyed it. Let me bring this up to speed. Take it up. I've seen, like, I think they have those that some of these thickness planer that is digital, where you just press the button and put in the actual height and it automatically goes up. This is pretty much manual, so everything about woodworking seemingly is designed to give you a workout. Yeah, that pretty much seems to be flat. So let me come down with the blade. Come down back with the blade a little bit. Yeah, so here I'm going to get the next two pieces to just get the both of them out the way. Thanks for joining me on my live today. I hope you would have enjoyed yesterday's live when I finished up the coffee table. I have to say that I really love it, and I'm growing to enjoy what I do more and more each day. So let me just pass this through the planer to skim it. Okay. Back to my table saw to rip these boards down, and then I'm going to do a glue up. You have to see with me, guys, I don't have a designated camera guy, so I have to be moving back and forth whenever I'm doing any form of work. So let me set up my camera. Thanks for joining me again, and if you have not yet hit the like button, now is the right time to do so. And also, if you have not yet subscribed, you can also subscribe to my channel. I try to go live as much as possible since lately. Just came in from work. So the first thing I'm going to do, I want to rip this board down, this piece of board down 5 inches. So I'm going to rip this 5 inches. Let me bring up my blade. I think I might do it in 2 passes. Yeah. Set the blade to 5 inches. Or give me a second. I definitely love my eyes, so let me get my PPE to ensure that any chip from the saw blade doesn't fly into my eyes and give me complications that I am not willing to deal with right now. So I'm going to cut this 5 inches. I'm going to pass it 2 times through the blade. Plug for this. You know that I have this down 5 inches. I want to cut this across 5 inches. I have to make sure that you're holding the board firm. When you're cutting board cross cut like this, that you're actually holding the board firm to the fence. Yeah. And I'm going to cut one more. going to cut this down a little bit smaller, like four and something. You will see what I'm talking about. Try to get this square up to like 4 inches. I'm just making some little small or 4.5. Let me give it 4.5 there about. That's seemingly, yeah. So I'm going to rate this 4.5. This is may seem to be a little bit dangerous, but you have to just hold it here. And repeat like this again. You see what I'm going to do with this piece. That's it right there. What I'm going to do now with this is going to glue up this piece. I'm going to glue it up so that it can start the drying process. These two pieces, I'm going to glue them up as square as possible. Let me get my small clamps to glue these up square as possible. So let me apply the glue. Yeah, apply the glue to that one. So I'm actually making what I'm making with this is a vase. Spread out the glue on it evenly. Then I'm going to try and see how best I can clamp these boards together like this. Let me hold it like this. See if we can get it. Square as possible, yeah. This way. Clamp it up. Put it aside. Just trying to get it as square as much as possible. Put one clamp here. So apply little pressure. So that's one clamp. Let me get our next. Let me. Okay. Get another clamp to put right here. Try to get as much pressure on it. Doesn't have to be 100% square, but to ensure that I get enough pressure on it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to set this aside. Set this aside. I'm going to set it aside to dry for at least half an hour, 30 minutes, or at least 20-30 minutes, and that should be good for what I'm going to do with it. It doesn't have to be fully dry, just enough to ensure that it stays in place. Apply some pressure here. Let me get our next clamp. Get the next clamp and put it right here. Yeah, this should pretty much be it. And the next thing I'm going to do now is to go back to the table saw again to cut down these boards to the dimension that I want them. Hi guys in the chat, nice having you with me today. So I'm going to go back to the table saw. First I want to rip this board down 6.5 inches on the table saw. Then I'll go to the next process in terms of resawing it. So it's 6.5 inches. Set the blade. 6.5 inches. Rip the 6.5 inches. And then I'm going to resaw it and then pass it back to the thickest blade. That 6.5 inches there. Remove this. Place it one side. The next 6.5 inches. Inches. Stop this. What I want to do now is resaw this board 3/4 inches on the table saw. This would be nice if I had a band saw to do it, but since I don't have a band saw, I just use my table saw to do resawing. You just have to have a little bit of patience. So first let me set the board this way. So I'm going to pass through, cut through it more than one time. This is like use the board like a bookmark. I'll show you the bookmark when it is finished. So I'm just making light passes. A little bit higher again. Cut from this side now. Look at that. Yeah, that looks nice. So that's one. That's the board, and being in a book match position. So after I have this, need to get this flattened down. So I want to use this. I'm going to use this piece. I'm actually going to cut this down. Let me check it. I'm going to cut this down to I think I want to use this pattern on the board. So I'm going to keep this part of the board with this color. I'm going for something different. So I'm going to cut 2 inches. Rip this down now to 2 inches. But first let me pass these through the thickness planer to get this on a more smoother surface, to know exactly what I'm working with. So I'm going to pass it through the thickness planer. Come with me again, guys. Today is a little bit of back and forth on this live. So I'm going to go over back to the thickness planer with this, and I'm going to pass these 2 pieces of board through the thickness planer. Thanks for joining the live today. If you have not yet hit the like button, now is the right time to do so, because that is one way. Hit the like, the comment button, share, so that others may see this upcoming sensational outdoor woodworker from the island of Jamaica. Oh, that sound like I'm into the music business. Yes, so pass this through the thickness planer again. One time, get this. Pretty much be now. Let me go back over to the table saw. Yes. So at the table saw, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to grip this piece of board into 2 measurements. First, I'm going to cut 2 inches. Let me bring down the blade. Adjust the blade. Adjust the blade. Or better yet, I think I might save this board. Let me see what I can get in terms of cutting this board into what is the actual measurement that I would get if I cut it in 2. Let me check the measurement. Let me go back to my square again. Square off this edge and then get my tape. Seems to not be doing well, whenever I'm ready for a pencil, seems to just not be there for me. Mark that there. the next one here. So this is 28. So half of 28 is what? 14. 14, 14, 14. Should be right there about 14. 14 and 14, 28. But I've always made these like 16 inches. I'm going to stick to my plan. Sometimes it's not really nice to change the plan right in the midst of a build. It tends to give you a little bit of headache or problem. So I'm going to cut back this, rip this down 2 inches. I'm going to stick to my original plan. In terms of, because I have a plan for this. So 2 inches. Rip this 2 inches first. Yes. Give this a 2 inches cut. So I'm saying I'm just doing this. I'm not sure if I will be finishing this project today, but I'm just making the preparation. It would be good because I'm just waiting on these other 2 boards that I'm going to work on after. 2 inches. I'm not comfortable using the anchor like that. I recommend you get a push stick, because if you are fearful, let me put it that way, I recommend you getting a push stick, because the table saw tends to be I think 3 inches. With this 3 inches now, or 3 1/4. Let me give it 3 1/4. That should be good. Then I'm going to rip this. Okay, so I have those. I have these pieces of board. So what I'm going to do now with this piece of board, I'm going to set my saw blade at a 45-degree bevel. I'm going to show you what I'm making now. Thanks again, guys, for joining this live. So I'm going to set my blade at a 45-degree angle. Yeah. And then I'm going to adjust my blade right there, about a little bit over. This should be good. And then I'm going to cut all 4 edges to give it a bevel. That's 1. I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the bevel from this side. So let me adjust the blade again over a little bit. I think there should be good. To go over a little bit more. Over a little bit more. I think Yeah, that should be good. Yeah. This side. And then this side. And I'm going to do for these edges also. Bring it over a little bit, yeah. Right there. And I'm going to cut this. Not going to be perfect in terms of what I'm trying to get. But I like the concept. Yeah. And then this side also. Yeah. So this is basically partially finished. For this I want to keep these. I'm going to keep these rust mark on this, but let me. I'm going to cut this in two, but I'm trying to keep these marking it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use my miter saw. My miter saw to screw off the edges, then find the center and cut it in two. I think I need to bring it. Let me see the actual measurement. Yeah. Yeah. Let me see how thick it is. I think I need to cut off at least an inch from this. So I'm going to remove 1 inch. Let me bring back the blade to its 90-degree position. Yeah. And then bring it up a little bit. Make 2 passes for this cut. Yeah, so that's the first one. So I'm taking off 1 inch. So I'm going to bring this over to 1 inch. For this one, I think I need to get my push stick. It's my finger. I don't want my finger that close to the blade. After all, I do need all 10 digits. Thanks again, guys, for joining the live. Nice to have you with us, Earl, Fabi, Sushana. Thanks for joining. And if you have not yet hit the like button, you know it's the time to do so. Getting my push stick. Should be somewhere close. Yeah. Give me a second. Yeah, I'll get one of my push stick to help me out on this process. Yeah. So I'm going to cut off a inch from this. So now that I have this where how I want it, so it seems as if I am getting where I want to be. So now let me kind of clear my table so that these projects can be more readily seen in terms of what I'm doing. So now the next thing I want to do is to get my table saw. Let me get the not the table saw. Excuse me. Wrong thing I said, not table saw. I need to get my miter saw. Let me see. I think I have to clear up the table. For some reason I have to bring back this thing. I don't think I will be using it any further for the day. So I'll be using my miter saw over here. So let me take in this, get this thickness planer in. So that's would be one less thing to take up this evening. Yeah. So that's out the way. So now I'm going to set up my miter saw on this table. So yep. So come with me, guys, over to the miter saw. It's kind of a little bit back and forth today, but it is what it is. You know, either way, if I was in a shop, I would be going back and forth just the same. Thanks again, guys, for joining. Yeah. I truly appreciate your time here with me. So now I'm going to go to the miter saw to make some final cuts for the letter and key holder. It would be nice if I could just assemble it, if time permits me. But first, let me deal with this. So this is a whole piece of board. This board is actually older than me, older than my grandmother, older than my great-grandmother, older than my father. This board is actually at least 160 years old. You know, so it's actually a piece of history. So that is why I want to keep this part of the board, to maintain that rustic look. So let me screw it off first. Oh, just cannot work without electricity. That one missed me. It's actually a good joke. But so now I'm going to square off these parts. Yeah. And then this part also. Then I'm going to cut this in two. Just simple projects that you can make. 15 and a half. So this is what is my maths right? 7 and 7, 14. So let me find my pencil. So 7 and a half give you 15. So I'm going to cut this down 7 3/4 thereabout. Yeah. So I'm cutting this 7 3/4 right there. 7 3/4. I'm actually making these. I'm making these small products because for me, oh, see it? It's almost 100%. Ah, the measurement was good. Hey, like that. I like that. So now for this, I'm going to cut this down to the actual measurements that I need. Let me square off this end. next measurement for this is 16 inches. Let me get that 16 inches right there. Then screw off this one. Also, yeah. And 16 inches. Also, let me use this to ensure that I cut both of these boards at the same length. This is a technique to ensure that both boards are the same. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's 16 inches. Put this right here. Right there. And then this, I'm going to screw this off also. So okay, you know, I've never actually, I'm not going to do it. I've never used the miter this way to cut 45s, but I changed my mind already. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to measure 10 inches. 10 inches. Then I'm going to let me mark this across. It's 10 inches. So let me mark this across. 10 inches. Yes. Then I'm going to cut this 10 inches right there. No, but I'm not going to cut it that way. I'm going to cut it at a 45-degree angle. A 45-degree angle. Try to save as much of these scrap boards as possible, because you know you can always make small stuff. So first, let me cut this at this angle right here. Need to check something. Okay, so that's that for this one. So I think I want to flip this to cut a different angle. Try this technique to ensure that I get, yeah. So that's pretty much it right there. It's pretty much what I'm looking for in terms of the design that I'm going for. Yes. Oh, who said that I don't have any use? So then I'm going to bring this over now. Why is this all? So for this 45-degree angle. right there. Hope you guys are getting the gist of what I'm doing. So I'm going to rip this right here. I think I need to come over just a little bit more. Okay. So I have that. I have this side. So in order to get the next side, I think I have to do the same. In terms of flip this. Seemingly I have two. So I have this side. So basically I have two sides already. So I have basically have what I need. So all I need to do now is to bring back this to 90 and then measure just to ensure that I have exactly what I want. Let me take a look at that. See what you guys have been up to. Thanks again for joining me on this live. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to, where's my pencil, man? Pencil seems to be giving me a warm time. I know I had it. Should be somewhere near me. Oh yes, find it. So what I'm going to do now is measure 2.5 inches here and 2.5 inches here. And cut these two pieces. That's one down. So basically I see mainly everything for this one now. Okay, here it is. So now I can take these back over to the workbench. The workbench where I'm working. Let me take it over here. So now I have basically everything that I am working on this workbench. Let me take these things over. Yeah. So here I'm at the workbench. For some reason now I believe that the main thing that I had initially said that I want to work on I should be able to work on it now. So I'm going to bring it over to the table saw. Not the table saw, over to the table, which is, let me put these aside. So these are just small projects that I'm working on. If you remember guys, at the beginning I told you what I was going to make. So I'm going to take this out of the clamp. It has been drying for at least 40 minutes. So I'm going to take it out of the clamp. Take it out of the clamp. And yeah, so this is it. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to get my saw, one of my little saw, to do some cutting. I think I had brought that out, but it is not there, so let me get it. So this is my small stainless saw, which I'm going to use. But before I do that, I want to get some mark on this. Later you will see the reason why I am marking this. to kind of find where the center of the board is, or what is supposedly supposed to be the center. Okay, now that I have that, I'm going to do some cuttings. First, I'm going to cut it at different angles with my saw. If you had remember, I told you that it doesn't necessarily have to be square per se. It only has to be as square as close as possible. It would have been nice if I had a vise. So I guess I might have to use one of these clamps to see if I can get some clamping pressure on it to do the cuttings. Yeah, this seemingly is working. Let me ensure that you guys are seeing what I'm doing. Let me turn my camera here. So I'm going to cut down some of these, give this some cuts. So that's one. That's one cut. Then I'm going to cut this way. Then I'm going to try and cut this way also. Turn this around to see. Yeah. Don't know if you're getting a idea of what I'm doing. This is just making a little vase, you know. So I'm going to cut this way now. Yeah, so I have that. I think I want to cut this way. Yeah. Seam is getting what I'm looking for. Let me turn this side. Turn to this side. Yeah. Turn to this side now. I think I want to take a big cut off like this. You can cut this to any pattern you want. For now I'm just freestyling. Just want to see how it actually turns out. turn this side also. Turn back this way. Then I'm going to actually cut it this way. Yeah, I think this is pretty much turning out to look like how I had anticipated. So I want to turn it this way. And I want to see what, let me look and map out what I want to do. Yes, I want to cut this across right about there. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, let me do this side. I think I'm getting there. I think I am finally getting what I'm looking for. So I want to add the next cut right here. You know what? Let me get a bigger answer. I think that would speed up the process a little bit more. A bigger answer, and also take out my fastener bits. Yeah. Get that bigger answer and walk with my respirator. Yeah. Get my tape measure. Yeah. Put it over here. So yep. So I'm going to cut this right here now. Okay. Okay, so I guess one more final cuts, two more cuts, and I think I'll just work with what I have. Maybe the next time I can actually improve on the shape. So I'm going to cut this like this right now. Yeah, it's too aggressive. Okay, good. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm liking what I'm seeing. But I don't like this part, so. Yeah, cut off this part right here. Alright, cut it down into it like this. Okay, good. So basically, this is a rough out of what I'm looking for. I think I want to see if I can get this a clamping pressure on this from this angle to make a next cut. Let me see if I can get that. Then I'm going to move to the next phase, which is sanding these. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. One down. Yeah, I think I like this. I think I'm going to work with this. So what I'm going to do now is let me get these two saws out the way. I'm going to get my sander. Let me get my sander. I'm going to try and see if I can use my belt sander to shape out this. Yeah, let me try the belt sander first. And then I get the other sander, Askelins, the other sander. Yeah. Let me put these one side for this project because I think it's pretty much getting dark and I need to, bring something home. Hey guys, thanks again for joining. Let me get my respirator. Yeah. Get some of these things out the way so that you guys can see exactly what I'm doing. Yeah. Take over this. So the belt sander. to this. Yeah. Plug this in. Turn this upside down. Set it right here. See if I can get some clamping pressure on this. Make sure it doesn't move. Yeah. Into the taking the shape. Okay, craft, sorry. Taking it short. Yeah. Okay, I think that's almost looking where I want it. So next thing now is to get my orbital sander. Hope you guys are following me to see how I'm working out this process with my orbital sander. I'm going to sand it down. Thanks guys for joining me today. So let me get this. Looking for. Let me get what I'm looking for. Yeah. Bear with me a little bit. Okay, let me use this. See if I can finish, give this a smoother finish. Yeah. all you have to do now is try to maintain all those edges that you would have cut. You can try. This is my first time attempting to do this, so I am pretty much proud of my results so far. That's one. This is just to get it off. Okay, let me check in the chat again to see what's going on. Hey guys, nice to have you with me today. Seems as if this live is going a little bit longer than usual, but I definitely plan on finishing these 3 projects. So let me hurry up and wrap them up. Okay, let me get my fastener bit. We'll do some boring now, and a little bit of light sanding, and that's it for the day. Yeah. So I'm going to use my 1 3/4 fastener bit to bore these holes. Get my pencil there, get my drill. So I said this is pretty much a straightforward project. This is a little wood vase. I'm going to use my fastener bit to bore this hole right here. Do this with this. just in case this thing decide that it wants to spin out on me. Yeah. Yeah, that should be it for that one. Just this right here. And this one now. See now. It's just like I did the simple projects. You can well, let me find the center of this first. Find the center, or close to the center, like that, like that. Yeah. Like that. I'm going to bore right. Yeah. That it's 2. And then for this now, for these 2, so I clear my table. I need my tape measure. What did I do with it? Right here. So 2 inches, 4 inches, and 6 inches. 2 inches, 4 inches, 6 inches. And then this is 1/2 inches, so it's 1.25 inches. 1.25 inches. You come across with this little square. Right there, right there, right there. Right there. So I have all of those. Right there, right there, right there. Yeah, same again. Pull this down to get cam. So ensure that I don't, the board doesn't clip on me. I'm going to bore one over here. Here, then one here. I'll move this out the way. One here, then the last one here. one. Same with this. One here. And the next here. Man, I buck up on something that I wasn't expecting, but still an easy fix. Seems to be hitting a nail. Wasn't expecting a nail. Let's see how best I can get out this thing there. There you go. No, lovely. Easy fix. And the next one right here. Okay. Seems to be getting somewhere. Okay, let me clear this table a little bit. Yeah. Clear this table a little bit. The thing I want to do is just hey guys, next week for me it's definitely going to be like cleaning up project, cleaning up, making preparation for the winter. So I'll be doing a lot of cleaning up. So let me get these things that I need. So I need a battery. Need a battery for my rotor. Sometimes you just overlook things when you're in a rush, man. Yeah. I need my battery. Yeah. So I'm going to use my rotor now to soften the edges. Just on this also. Just to soften the edges. Yeah. Bottom also. Yeah, yeah, like that. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, like that. And then I'm going to pass the source on the edge. Yeah, that's one down. Yeah. So what I'm going to do now is let's give this a light sanding with some 220 grit sandpaper, and then apply a finish to these products. So let me sand off this top first. Yeah, so that's pretty much like, let's give this a final. Okay, I think I'm getting somewhere now, so I can take off my respirator. Yeah. Hey guys, today's stream seems to be going very long, but I definitely like to start something and see it through to the end. So I'm basically close to the finishing mark right now. Then I'm going to show you guys the actual finish. Let me get my water pop bottle while I'm at it, taking something to minimize the amount of things I have to take in. I call that work smart. Work smart and not harder. I guess that's the saying. Yeah. Yeah. So that's in. Get a piece of cloth. Get a piece of cloth. My water bottle. And my finish that I'm going to use. Let me see. Should be somewhere about here. Yes. Very close. I like that. So I'm going to water pop these things so you guys can get a glimpse of what it basically look like. Yeah. Yeah. This is to really get rid of some of the sanding dust on it. And I'm going to wipe it off. Okay, nice. Like this. Let me allow this to blow off just a little bit. So that's one. Two. Three. Okay, good. Pack up some of these stuff. Clear the table. Clear the table of some of these stuff. Yeah. Pretty much going into that wrap up phase. Yeah. Rest these over here. Thank you guys again. Guys, I just want to say thanks again for joining me on this live. So this is what I work on today. So I end up finish 4 items. Got all of them out of one piece of board. Yeah. Let me get this over here. So I'm going to apply mineral oil to this and wax to this to finish these. So it's just basically the process is just wiping it on like this. Just make sure you try to get every spot. Just rub it in. Yeah. Just rub it in there about. it on the top, rub it in. Yeah. So this is a wooden vase. As you can see, it looks very nice. I want to take some picture of it and then post it. This other this one is a bit more easier. It's actually cutting the board square, or as square as possible, and then you cut some 45 bevels on the edge and you bore the hole. It's a real straightforward, simple finish. So these angles are not really 100%, but that's how I wanted it in terms of the design. So there you see it. So this is the next one. Then you have these two. These are actually like candle stands, you know, that you put your candles. It's like your little scented candles. I maintain that little rustic look on the top, you know. Yeah, so that's two. These are the small items that you can make. It doesn't require a lot of tool. As you can see, I use my table saw. You could have used a circular saw. Use my table saw and my miter saw. You could have used a table saw to your hand saw to basically make all of these cuts, and a drill with a fastener bit. So there you go. Let me put all three of them together so that when I take out my phone, you guys can see the bill for today. Let's arrange them out. Yeah. So after you apply the oil, you can allow it to soak in for a little bit, but I'm going to wipe these off. You know, so just wipe off the excess oil from it, because this is actually a mineral oil with wax in it. So that's that. This one also, wipe it off with this piece of cloth. Then this also. Yeah. I think in my next live, it's going to be short, because I'm just going to, if you recall the board that I was cutting up for the letter and key holder, basically I'm just going to assemble it. So let me take out my phone out the holster so I can show you guys these things up close. So this is what they look like. So this is what I was working on today. As you can see, there is different angle that I use the saw to cut and then shape them. This one was a bit simple, these two, but these are all the products that I made today on this live, which lasted at least 2 hours, something thereabout. So I just want to say thanks again. Let me show you myself before I sign out. Good evening, guys. Thanks and welcome again to What's in Your Hand Woodworking. Thanks for staying with me throughout this duration of this live, and I truly and greatly appreciate you, and I hope that you have a wonderful weekend, and I wish you all the best. Out. Good night.